Oh, good. I mean, I just want to tell everybody this Mars stopping, stationary, retrograde, that's going to happen. You know, I said it's going to feel like quicksand without a rope. So that's why I was telling everybody, get to the identity of what you want and what you don't want. And
I was watching Princess Bride last night, when Wesley dives down into the was it the lightning sand, they call it in there, that lightning sand to save Princess Buttercup.
Or isn't it
a beautiful story?
It's the swamps of whatever, and it's
the forest of something, I think.
And then it's the something quicksand. It's the something.
I think it's called lightning sand.
Yeah.
I should know. I just watched it last night. But.
Yeah, and it just it's very. There's a lot of tension if you feel like you have not
the fire swamp.
The fire swamp. Yeah, if you haven't really tried to go for what you want, and so when it comes to love. I'll just say this week, the Sun trines Jupiter, ironically, tomorrow, Wednesday, with Mars retrograde. So Mars is going retrograde to join with Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn retrograde, Uranus retrograde. There's a lot of retrogrades. And so this Sun trine Jupiter, there's always like the Sun-Jupiter day. You guys all know I love Sun-Jupiter days, the 3 that come a year, the 2 trines and then the conjunction point. But it is a Virgo sun, and it is a Jupiter retrograde in Capricorn. And with the Mars retrograde, there's this little bit of like, I really want to change my life, but I'm unsure of like if I'm ready to go, because Mars stops and it goes retrograde and it's squaring Saturn. And so this is going to be where it's like, does risk really offer the best alternative to not seeing something? Yes. I mean, the Sun of Virgo is wanting to change things and reinvent things in a way that's not like Aquarian, but like simple. Like, what's not simply happening in your love life that really wants to work? And with Jupiter here in Capricorn, this is this retrograde Jupiter that does come direct on Saturday. So this is very weird that from Wednesday to Saturday, we're going to see 2 planets shifting. And it's almost like some people can really feel like there's quicksand with no rope, because without Jupiter direct and on the last days of it stationary retrograde, it stopped too. And that's the planet of hope, and it's in its worst sign, Capricorn, and it's definitely having some trouble. And the Sun is actually looking at Jupiter exactly at the same time. Sun is also going to oppose Neptune this week. And so while all this is going down, that can bring us to this place of like, am I ever going to get my reality the way I want to? And if we're focused on love, like, that's why I'm saying risk. Jupiter in Capricorn is the lesson of risk. Mars square Saturn is risk with courage. Like, there's a lot that's going to be. And it's like, instead of looking at it maybe as quicksand and not having a rope, it's almost like, did you take the risk to not try to get out when the rope was available? Like, it's almost like people can get comfortable in quicksand. People can get comfortable in their subconscious. There's going to be a very weird element too of looking at what subconscious blocks are not being addressed in our reality with the Sun opposed Neptune. And you have to remember that Neptune's in good aspect with Jupiter. So the only doors that really are open are the ones that are more spiritual and the ones that really are accessing the understandings of subconscious blocks. We are with Venus and Leo, thank God. So to have fun is important, and to find things that are about fun. This is definitely not a time to be critical with this Virgo energy, and especially with Mercury and Libra, judgmental, because this is a time where what do we have left except the things that make us feel good and happy and looking and seeing the best in other people, opposed to we're already in a divisive world, and already a world that it's got so much crazy stuff going on. The last thing we want to do is add to that heavy load and weight, because it's going to feel like a heavy weight now that Mars is retrograde. That courage, that ambition, that drive is all you are going to have when the weight feels heavy. So it's almost like if you were to try and go bench press and they put like a 600 pounds on it and you didn't have a spotter and you just, it's like, what do? Are you just going to give up, or are you going to push this thing through? And so when it comes to love, this is definitely a week where the sun is looking at Jupiter. The sun is looking at Pluto as well. Transformation and change through opening up a whole new story and different stories. And Mars retrograde square Saturn, Mars retrograde square Pluto Jupiter. I mean, this is definitely a kind of a tense point. Remember, Mars is at 28 degrees where it retrogrades, and that's an exact opposition to where Saturn and Pluto conjuncted in Libra in 1983, the end of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. So that was the last one to the one that we finally had here in 2020 in January on the 12th. So this is directly looking at cutting away 37 years of just crap in relationship situations. And the subconscious element is, how do we make the dreams reality? What are the blocks to that? Do we know how to be forgiving and also know how to be easy? And Neptune is retrograde. There's so many planets retrograde this week. And the only planets that are direct are the personal ones of Mercury and Venus. And it's like there's this weird moment here of like, at least they're in alignment, and that's Libra and that's Leo, which is love. If you're not having full love and relationship energies, then you might feel like you're in hell.
Is this a time that maybe you should act on that, or like not be so reactive and maybe just like hold off for another week to kind of, discuss certain things within your love relationships?
I mean, I would say that the writing's been on the wall. If it doesn't feel like love and awesomeness, and that's the courage to get that heavy weight off you, but it's going to feel heavier, and then you're going to look back, and that's what I think the whole Sun opposed Neptune thing is this week, is like, fuck, it's been showing to me in the past from Spirit the whole time. Did I not bridge that to my reality and make the change? Sun's going to try in Pluto. Sun's going to try in Jupiter. So this is an opportunity. It's just a unique opportunity of like, because people think, oh, Mars retrograde in Aries is ego, and maybe it's time to stop your ego. Yeah, it is. But ego likes to attach to an identity of like, I can't leave this, or I have to do this. Like, these are erasing a lot of those things, and whether or not it's alignment with your long-term destiny or not. And if it feels like a heavy weight, why even do that? This is about clearing heavy weights. This is about clearing heavy karma that our egos still are holding on to, that was cleared out even from 2019. So this is about clearing and the courage to clear it instead of retreat back, because Mars retrograde is a warrior retreating. Like, I'm going to retreat back. So actually I would see more people who were ready and new, and then they feel the heavy weight, so they go actually more into a heavier weight because they want to retreat back. So retreating is not good. It'll just bring you, I mean, look at where the last Mars retrograde was, June, July, August of 2018. That was I can fix it in South Node with Aquarius. I can fix it, it'll be fixed. And when that went direct, nope. Bye-bye. So I can retreat and I'll still win the battle. No, you'll lose and get pounded. Interesting way to look at that. Because, the idea of retreating too might be having to be re-looked at for love. Like, oh, retreat is I quit. No, retreat is I'm not going to go into a heavy load, or I'm retreating because I am too afraid to actually see through, even though it looks challenging and those guys look scary, if we're using a war analogy. Like, look at what's going on in Australia. I don't know if you saw it this weekend, the cameras that just got put all over, and they're watching people now with cameras like China, and that was on the mainstream news. So everybody that was saying that, oh no, they're not, there's no planes coming in from, where to bring in a system like where. Oh, they did it. So actually all this stuff's floating around saying, oh no, they did that. So, I think, and I'm going to take this to broader than love for just 1 second here, this Mars retrograde. And this affects your love life because if the partner is not on the same team with you, especially when it comes to the choices that you want to make in your long-term life and what you especially believe in with Jupiter here in Capricorn. Like, this is where people have to stand in solidarity against being told how to do things and being controlled. So if you're in a relationship where that thing is controlling you in such a way where you won't be yourself, and that could be your own self, right? Like, you can be controlled by yourself, right? Like, because morally I must stay here, although it's heavy and I hate it and I don't like it and I don't want to be here and this sucks. And I'm too emo about it. Because Mars is opposing Libra, and that's where Mercury is, and that's where Juno is finishing, and then it's squaring over to Capricorn and it's squaring to Cancer. So this is creating massive cross situations, cardinal cross stuff. So it has to deal with your emotional, your long-term, and if that really is peaceful and balanced or not. And Mars retrograde is, where do you retreat? And do you retreat because you're afraid? Or do you retreat because, I need to save my troops and be able to continue the war? And I think that's going to be where it's at. So there's 2 scenarios. I don't think that one's right, if that makes sense, to answer your question. Like, I don't think it's stop. This is not Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde is when you stop and process things. Mars retrograde is the review of the actions that you've been taking, especially if you want to go to the last one in Aries. I mean, let's be real, like the actions you've been taking since '88. I mean, that's a long time.
That's a damn long time.
Right? So, and also your desires. Do you really get your desires? Or do you not? Because, do you fight for yourself, for your destiny and what you deserve to get for your long-term goals, for the work you put in? Or do you retreat to that and go, no, and with Uranus and Taurus, that is the whole lesson. Like, you only get to heaven right now through owning your value and your worth, and also taking things that are of that high value and worth, not trying to settle for crap. People right now are willing to settle for crap now. I'm not just talking in love, just in anything, right? Like, I'll just settle for, whatever. And that's part of the conditioning of this Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, which I warned for 3 years was conditioning. Conditioning for people to accept a lesser life and be okay with it. And that is running around more than what we are being told is running around. So, it's like Tesla stock. Look at it today.
Take a big old crap.
So would you continue to go fight for that stock when, even though you knew the whole time it was like, this doesn't make sense, it's too high, they're not even doing anything? Sure, Elon Musk is doing things in other places, but that's not Tesla. You know what I mean? That's not the company. So, are you going to go build a new, are you going to finally retreat and pull out and just be like, okay, this stock's done? Or are you going to go, I'm going to still fight for the stock. Maybe it'll go back up to the high again. Yeah, right. There's that writing on the wall, that Saturn, like, what? Saturn rules totally now. And Saturn knows timing, responsibility, and choices that need to be made. And Saturn's getting ready to come direct, and Jupiter's coming direct this week. And so, it's like, if you have opportunities, you have to take them. Retreating into opportunities that are of the past that are the same thing and you're expecting a different result is definitely not going to be good. So, let's see what the cards have to say.
Alrighty.
Well, we got the Devil card up right. Isn't that what we got last week? And I shuffled the crap. I've been using this deck all week. Our desires, our wants, what we really need in our life, relationship-wise, is a big deal. But I think there's going to be a lot of questions on, am I in a really, am I chained to something? I mean, I'll be honest, this is also a very sexual card, right? So, you know, I think that you have to look at that and also make sure, like, one, is it so sexual, but it's really not the best vibe for you? And it's not bringing you love, or it's not bringing you anything, and you're getting kind of lost in that, and it's taking you down a dark hole? Or is that completely missing, and you're at a place to where, you know, you're just chained to actually not getting anything in your life? And I would also say that the Devil card deals with some sort of idea of control, right? That if you feel that this relationship is controlling your life, and that can mean like, well, if I make this move, then it affects me in this way so deep that you won't make the true life of what you are, then you're trapped. And that's gonna be a big question. The challenge that we got here is the Emperor in reverse. So, not gonna be a great time to just feel that empowerment within self to do what you know you really want to. But I think that that's the question. It's like, are you gonna let the devil win, which could be like inside of yourself, like the obsession with either crap or the obsession with what's not good, and not standing up for yourself and not taking the direction and not fully going for what you really want in your life? The overall card that we got here is the Queen of Wands in reverse. You know, she feels dumb about love. She feels like upside down. So I think overall it's like anything that just feels where you feel stupid, or it just doesn't feel as beautiful and as loving and as magnificent as it could be, then you would be dumb to stay in anything like that, or to enter into anything where you feel stupid. The shadow to that Emperor card that we got is the Addicted card. And I was really feeling that word with the Devil card. The relationships that we're addicted to that don't make us feel empowered or make us feel like we're really not in our true powerful self, like that is what's not going to work. And that Devil card that we got, we did get the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. So are we just going to kind of sit in the fire swamp, like Craig was saying earlier, in this space and not continue the journey forward? Or are we just stuck? This is definitely a stuck card, the Knight of Pentacles reversed on the Devil. So it's like, are you just stuck in kind of your own, giving yourself, you know, being tricked? You're tricking yourself in something that seems it's of substance when it's really not. Are you tricking yourself into holding yourself back into something beautiful because you would rather stay in a shitty, dark place? And the reason we got that Queen of Wands reversed is the Lovers. Wow. So I think it's okay to feel stupid about things in all relationships. Like that happens, and especially with love. But I would say when the Lovers are showing up over that Queen of Wands in reverse, it's like we know the ultimate love and the true feminine qualities and the beauty and the aspects of it. And that's what we have to focus on. It's not some addicted kind of disempowering thing, or I'm only empowered because of that person, or I'm stuck because I don't feel like I'm afraid to either get out of the chains of this, or I'm afraid to feel that I would be chained, but really, you know, you're already chained in some other place that's not that great for you overall. And the overall card that we got is the Mercury Retrograde Reinvention. That, oh wow, this is a very weird reading. I would say overall for the collective this week, we are all being thrown into another look at things that maybe we needed to finally see. You know, there's a lot of revealing this week of a complete reinvention of what love looks like in many ways, and whether or not, you know, where are we stuck? We're all chained somewhere. We're either chained singly to not wanting to be in relationships, to chained relationships that we feel like we can't be without. Where's the journey now moving forward in love? And what are we addicted to that doesn't make us feel empowered? And what makes us feel stupid about the beautifulness of the true love that we can find? Like, where is it that we're like, oh no, I don't know if I'm good enough for that. I don't know if I have the ability to be the queen that sits on the throne of love for the ultimate love. We did get the moon in the 12th in Libra. So this is definitely bringing up, you know, relationships that emotionally we've been blinded by the light, or we've been not paying attention, or, the good thing of the moon, the 12th, definitely can pick up on the hidden emotional elements of like really finding the deep spiritual nature in relationships. But we also need to not get stuck emotionally on things that are taking us backwards. And I would say that this is definitely going to be a judgment call emotionally this week for us about how we operate in relationships, which ones are divine for us and which ones are holding us back.
I'm sensing almost like a loss of self within this relationship, and that might not be necessarily like a bad thing. Like, take for example, when you first start dating something, it kind of revolves around, having some cocktails to loosen up and everything like that, and easily that can snowball and kind of be like a major part of your relationship, even though maybe it wasn't a major part of either one of your lives. But since you start doing that together, it can kind of snowball, and then you both kind of lost a sense of yourself. And I think there does just need to be that talk, because with that Lover's card, I think there is the possibility of love within that relationship, but there needs to kind of be that restructuring, because with that addiction card too, it's kind of being addicted to that moment of that feeling of that, that giddiness, that looseness, that maybe, whatever it is that's inhibiting, yourself or in your partner's self. So I think there just needs to kind of be that communication of saying like, okay, is this really us? Or are we kind of just playing into the role of, of what we think each other wants within that relationship?
Yeah, I think that you touched on like one small part of a much more intricate system of things going on right now. That what you brought up could also be flopped into many different departments of like, are we really in touch with our true self, number one?
Right.
And are we really in touch with, there's some people out there not in relationships, right? And they're like, are we chained to things that aren't giving us great offerings, that we've stopped our journey too? That's the thing about Knight of Pentacles. Like, have we stopped our journey on a shitty place? Which it says we kind of have, because that's Knight of Pentacles on the devil. So it's like, we have stopped the journey on a place that we're thinking that, the devil card thinks that it can kind of swoon, or it can kind of, transform and kind of a weird, obsessed way, turn something into something that's not, right? Something dark into light in some sort of way. It's not the magician, though. It's not alchemy. So there's something about our journey where we're stopped this week to see, what do we need to clear and bring into the more beautiful truth? And that Emperor reverse too was really weird to see. And that the only way through that with the shadow was, that addiction to what's not empowering us. Or addicted to something that we think is empowering us, but it's really not. It's backwards. So, there is, I think, a true spiritual love out there. And I think that, in order to get that, you have to make sure with that Moon, Libra, 12th house that we pulled as the Astro dice, we have to be able to clear the energies emotionally in order to bring in the more beautiful emotions, either in that partnership or let it go completely. Or if you're single, right, like let go to the things that are holding you back from that. There's a lot that we're going to have to filter through. This is a big, like pretty wild week. This is not going to be a simple one.